What's going on, everybody? My name is Jason. I work at All Out Bikes, and today we were going to be putting this new Velotrix e-bike together. However, it is raining outside, so we're going to scratch that. And I was trying to figure out what video to do, and I actually came across this really cool bottom bracket that I got a long time ago. This is one of those profile evolution, I think it was, bottom bracket, and it's a really unique bottom bracket because it actually threads into the frame. I don't know how well it'll work. Probably doesn't work very well because that's not something that's stuck around, but it's a very unique piece of BMX history, and I was trying to figure out what I could build using this bottom bracket. And after thinking about it, I was thinking, wait a second, I bought a GT Ultra box 20 something years ago, and I was thinking that this would go well in that, and this thing has been sitting around for years, and I figured, why don't we go ahead and see if we can scrounge up the parts for this Ultra box and get it put together. So why don't y'all come with me and let's see if we can find some parts to to put together. Okay, so I've got this frame up here. Let's see if I can get it down. Okay, so I think this one's going to be really fun. This is a 1999 or a 2000. I'm pretty sure it's a 1999 because I bought this back in like 2000 or 2001. So it's one of my dream frames that I've just never gotten to put together. And unfortunately, it's starting to show its age. It's got a Thompson seat post. It does have a GT seat, and I should have all the other stuff for it as well. Now, I brought these tires from home, so I already had these, but these are some original GT Megabytes. I've got a 1.75 and I've got a 2.0 tire right here, and they're in really good shape, and they're going to go really well with the GT. While trying to find parts, I found some new old stock GT foo bars. Will not work for this project, but I completely forgot that I had these. And let me see, is there a date anywhere on here? Let's see. There's a 2001. I don't think you can see it right there, but these handlebars are from 2001. Now, I've got my little stick here because there's some perfect wheels right there that'll work good. They're not perfect, but they're actually lightly used, and what they are is they are some Shimano DX hubs. Oh, see it right there. So some Shimano DX hubs. These are actually cassette wheels with some Araya Superset 7X rims. So these are double walled, and I think you might be able to, no, you can't really tell. But trust me, Super 7X rims, those were kind of like the wheels to go with back in the day. So we've got the frame, we've got wheels, tires, we need cranks, we need a fork. I know where the fork is. That way. I know I've got some old GT forks over here in the corner by the pump, right next to this old Mongoose frame. And these are the stilettos. Yeah. So we've got some Reynolds 531 GT stilettos that went with these Speed Series bikes. All right, so we've got to get over into this mess over here. Let me try not to break my neck. And we've got some old power light bars right here. You can't really see them very good. We're getting into the stash here. We've got a brand new, I don't know if you can see it very good, pink GT seat post. And then we've got a old pink hutch seat post layback. And we've got some old BMX, new old stock BMX stems. That's an old one there. And then what we're looking for is we've got this box. I think I got this box together a while ago with plans on getting this bike put together. So, well, I've got parts, but that doesn't belong in there. But some old Schwinn frame pads, DK stem, but I do see some parts in here that'll work. We'll take it next door because actually I see something there that is very interesting. We'll take that next door. Okay, so we've got there should be some cranks in here, some brakes. We've got seat and seat post already on there. We've got the frame. We need a headset. We've got fork. We've got wheels. We need pedals. We need a chain. We need handlebars. Okay, we'll keep on looking. Okay, so here's the Speed Series Ultra box, and I hope I've got enough parts to get this thing put together. Let's see what I found next door and at the house. Okay, so here's what I've got here. Let me move this over out of the way. We don't need these Schwinn pads for this project, but I do have a nice project that'll be good for. I've got this dirty, it's covered in wood, DK stem. This is not exactly what I was picturing on this bike, but this might have to do. Now we've got this GT sprocket. It's a 45 tooth because I want to go fast. I want to go fast! We've got a bottom bracket that we're not going to be using. We've got another stem here that may work. It's not a Shadow. It's a S&M racing stem. I have to think about that. That actually might be a little bit nicer. What do y'all think? The DK American-made stem or the S&M racing stem? Let's put them both aside. And then, looky here. I've got some, these are from a BMX show. Old Redline. I guess that's a MX2 or something like that. Hutch Trickstar. An old Jad. I've got some Jad cranks on my Pro issue. I really love those cranks. Frames were kind of ugly, but that's okay. They're very unique. 16-inch GT. That's me wearing tights going off of a drop. Landing gear. There's a Mongoose Motomag. JMC. So we can look at those later. These are cool. Just give me a moment. We've got a nice titanium profile spindle. We may use that on the GT. And then here's some XTR brakes. So that's good. I've got a right lever here that may be going on this bike. And then I've got a set of XTR V brakes or linear pull brakes. Some frame savers that may or may not go on the bike. I've got, of course, those GT Stiletto forks. We're going to get that put on. Now, I was having trouble with the headset, and I remember back in the day we loved these FSA Orbit headsets, and they still sell these. So I think I'm going to put one of those headsets on the bike because it really looks good with the frames. And then an unexpected turn of events. I actually found some GT pads. That's going to be for the stem, and here's a crossbar GT pad. As far as pedals go, I can't find pedals that I really like, so I'm temporarily using these Evo pedals. They look just like original GTs, except they do say Evo. This is just going to be temporary. And then of course I've got my GT tires, my original GT tires. Y'all might find this interesting. I have some profile prototype pedals. And these are brand new, they've never been used. And they're gold. Now, if you look up profile gas pedals, all you ever see is silver and black. Now, in the catalogs, they showed colors, and the colors were mostly given to the pro riders. And these look really great. I've got the pins right there. I don't know if I'll ever put these on a bike, just because these were sold to me as a prototype set of pedals. I was able to get the gold ones, and they had some red ones, and for the life of me, I don't know what happened to the red ones. But we'll put that back in there. I bought these pedals back in 2009 after they had discontinued the pedals and they were just trying to get rid of them, because actually the reason why they discontinued the pedals is because there's a real weak point right here. They've got a large hole drilled into this pedal. Hopefully it's getting in focus here, so that you can put the tool through there to screw the pin in this other side. Well, the problem is your foot's on there and it cracks right there and right there. So unfortunately, these pedals, they're very expensive, they're very light, they're very cool, but they have a design flaw in them, so you rarely see these pedals. So we're going to put that away. Let's go ahead and get the headset installed on this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put a generous amount of grease into the head tube area here. That's going to help prevent corrosion. It's also going to help install, it's going to help the cups slide in easier. We're going to get our headset of choice, that's going to be the FSA headset here. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. They really didn't want me to open this thing. We'll go from the bottom side here. We're going to press in this bottom race. We want to grease the race area. We're going to slide the race on here, and we don't want it to just slide all the way down, which it hasn't. That's good, because it's supposed to be pressed on. Now, the way we're going to do that, we have this Park Tool crown race installer. So we're going to pick the proper fitting. We're going to get our little tube here, and then the argument settler here, and we're going to knock it in place, and we're going to keep hitting it until we hear the sound change pitch. Didn't take long. So whenever we're installing this, we want to make sure that we install this with the writing right side up. Okay, sometimes people can be in such a hurry that they fail to notice that they're installing the cup upside down. So we got that. Okay, so this one's going to go on top. I'm going to go ahead and put it there so I don't forget. And you always want to install one cup at a time. This ensures proper installation because you're wanting to use, if you install both cups at the same time, what happens is if one cup starts to go crooked, the other cup goes crooked. So by having just the bare frame, which is level, and the cup, it presses the cup perfectly straight. So now I'm just going to line or kind of center this up, and then we're going to go ahead and press it in until I feel it hit. Right there. We see a little bit of grease squish out. Now we're going to get the bottom one. And I like to make it where the FSA is perfectly centered in the front. So we've got one cup centered. So we're going to make sure that this FSA is straight. We're going to make sure this is centered, and then we're going to go ahead and press it in until we feel the resistance and the grease comes out. Right there. We'll clean that up later. Now I'm going to be using a good grease. On this, this is a bicycle specific grease. I'm going to put the grease in all the crevices of the bearing. That's to ensure proper lubrication. If I just put it inside the cup, what happens is the grease will sometimes fill these cavities in the bearing, and then it has a lot less grease to lubricate the bearings. So I've got it in the bearings. I'm going to put it into the the cup area. Make sure you install the bearing properly. There is a top and the bottom to the bearing. So whenever you're putting it in, you want to make sure that the race goes into the inside bearings. You can see the bearings from the inside. On this other side, if you look at it, the metal cage is actually going to get into the way. So if you kind of pay attention to that, you shouldn't ever install the bearings improperly. We've got our fork with the race. There's the rubber seal that goes on. Don't forget that. We're going to install the bearing the proper way. And then we're going to slide that in. I need to find the stem that I'm going to be using. But to keep this from falling out, I'm going to go ahead and just put this top cap on. And just thread it in, because now I can kind of let it go and it's not going to fall out. So, DK S&M Racing. DK S&M Racing. This DK has been sitting around for an awful long time. I think it's time for it to be on something. I can always take it back off, especially if I can find an original GT stem. So I will wipe this down. I don't know if this has ever been on anything. Oh, no, I can see some marks. But it's looking pretty good. How many spacers am I going to need? Yeah, I'm going to need a couple. About 10 millimeters, it looks like. It's funny, I work at a bike shop and we're running out of certain things. I need some more 1/8" headset spacers. I've got them in silver, but I've been selling the black ones so much that I'm running out. I want to put a little bit of grease on this wedge here. Again, prevents corrosion and allows things to work smoothly. Okay, we got our wedge. We've got a spacer. We'll put the stem, see how it looks. That's pretty good. Let's put another spacer. Now, if I recall correctly, this stem uses American wrenches. Be sure to make sure you're using the proper tools when you're working on your bike. Most of the time, everything is metric. But in this case, given the year that this is, a lot of the American-made parts were actually using standard tool sizes. Okay, let's see. I've got some of these S&M bars. Nobody's going to really notice that these are newer. These are 9.25. These are some credence bars. I think that will do just fine, at least temporarily. What's it going to hurt? Nobody's going to know. All right, let's put these bars on. Okay. We're going to make these handlebars go ever so slightly forward, because that's the way I like it, but it's best to have the handlebars following the fork, because the more forward it gets, the weaker or the less secure the stem is going to be on the handlebar. So we've got handlebars, we've got a stem, we've got a headset, we've got a fork, we've got a frame, we've got wheels. Let's get the wheels on. I've been holding on to these tires for so long. So keep in mind, GT went out of business, or actually got bought out by Schwinn in the 90s. And then Schwinn ended up getting bought out in like 2001. Wow, this tire came from the store I used to work at. We used to get a marker, and we used to write the price inside the tire with a yellow marker, and this was $14.95 back who knows how long ago. So that means this tube is 20-something years old. Look at that. I've got it up to 60 psi. And these tires are so old, but they've been kept in my house. And the rubber here, the little hairs here, I can still stretch them and they don't break. That's great. I find a lot of BMX bikes. Thankfully, this area around here, BMX was big. So we have a lot of old school BMX bikes come in and parts. We still have this threaded bottom bracket cup in here that we're going to have to remove. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to simply get a punch and a hammer, and you just forcefully knock it out. Now, I do remember whenever we were selling these Speed Series box bikes at the store, that there was one year where the stickers, the decals, were super thick. These are the thinner ones. I do believe that this is the 99, but whenever they came out with the new one for 2000, that the decals were like 10 times thicker than these. And they came in fine, but then a short time later they were peeling off. So you'll see these frames with no decals on them, and if you do, it's either because they peeled them off, or maybe they didn't peel them off. Maybe it was one of those extra thick decals that ended up peeling off. I've been waiting for this moment for many years. Okay, so we've got the rear wheel right here. Can we put the frame saver on there? We cannot. There's no room. Okay. And then I need some washers to put on the fork because I don't want it to get chewed up. We've got some nice washers here. to protect the frame. And the fork. So we've got this European bottom bracket, and all we're going to do is we're going to punch it out from the back side. Wow, that is in there. Let's work on this a little bit more. All right, there's one. Now we have this profile evolution bottom bracket. We're just going to figure out what size spacer is going to go inside of it. And the way I do that is I just go ahead and I put the spacer in there and I screw it down until it makes contact, and then I just put it up against the frame kind of underneath, and I want both of these flanges to fit on either side of the frame, with preferably with very little play. But if you can't slide each of these flanges on both sides at the same time, then the spacer is too thin, and wherever you put the cranks on, the bearings are going to bind up. Let's find some spacers. Okay, I've got a spacer here, so I'm going to take this apart, drop the spacer in there, screw this in. We're going to screw this in until it makes contact with the bearings. Give it a little, maybe a little tighter. So bearings are still spinning smoothly, but I can feel the bearings binding up a little bit. And we're going to put it here and here, and there is the tiniest of play on there. So we've got the right spacer. Let's get this bottom bracket installed. To install this bottom bracket, you're supposed to have one of these profile evolution tools to tighten it up. Now, you're supposed to have two of them. I only have one. So we're going to see if we can make this one work. Let's grease that bottom bracket real good. And let's go ahead and get lots of grease in there. And then I'm going to get a little bit of anti-seize, and I'm going to put on to this one. I don't know if one's better than the other. That's why I'm trying to cover both bases. Anti-seize, lots of it. So we're going to go ahead and install this one here onto this side. And we're going to install this one on this side. And it's going in pretty smoothly. Let's make this tight. Okay, so I've got my titanium spindle here. We're going to use some anti-seize on that. Wow, that is so smooth. We're going to go big. Oh, look at that. That is so beautiful. The hard part is getting the crank straight. The special tool. Profile has its own little installation tool. So, crank arm is in. Wow, we got full contact on both sides. Let's find a chain. I have a very nice Taya chain here. This is a 3/32 chain, which is a nice race chain. It's got a master link built into it. And all I'm going to do is try to get as close as I can. Looks like I'm going to have to go all the way over here. Let's look for a chain breaker here. We got our chain. Let's tighten up the wheel, install the pedals. We're going to put on our XTR brake lever. Okay, I've got this put together. I'm sorry for the struggles that I've been having with building this. Whenever I started, everything was going together great, but the camera started making noise. I lost footage. I apologize for that. And then phone calls, so I put it on time lapse. But as you see, this is a very nice bike. It's got a beautiful frame, which is very hard to come by. It's got the appropriate GT stiletto fork on there in great shape. It's got an era correct stem on there. It's a DK. I wish it was a GT, but I didn't have a GT, so I put the same model year old school stem on there. It's got the proper brakes. We were putting XTR brakes on these BMX bikes way back in the day. It's got the proper wheels. These Araya Super 7X rims with a DX hub. We've got profile cranks. I know they're not GT, but they're of the same era. They just say profile instead of GT. I did have this really nice 45 tooth GT sprocket on there. We've got the original seat. We've got an old Thompson seat post of the same time. And amazingly, we have the tires for it. These are original tires with no dry rot on there. So, this came together very well. Oh, I did put some current S&M handlebars on there. I could not find the right ones, so that's the only thing that's not correct other than the pedals. Sorry, I forgot about the pedals. So we've got some good-looking pedals, but they're not right for this bike, and we have some good-looking handlebars, but they're not right. So I'm going to keep an eye on those to find in the future to put on here. I don't like the color choices. I wish this was a black sprocket to match the black cranks, and I wish this was a black pedal. But this is pretty good for parts just lying around the shop and the house. So this all went together just from random parts that have been lying around. So I am going to, with the help of Zeke over here, you can't see him as he's off camera over here, we are going to go out for a quick little spin, and we'll see you out on the ride. Let's go.
There's a little sidewalk right here.
Oh, that. Yeah, I don't. that was an amazing ride. This bike rides so good. It's just well balanced. I mean, it's so stupid fast. I'm going to try to put the actual speed on there, which if you're watching this video, that you'll actually know if I put the speed up or not. Amazing bike. I really enjoyed this build, and it's old enough that it's very interesting. It's not quite old enough to put on the wall yet, but very, very lucky that I actually own this bike, because this is cool enough that it gets attention, but or I should say old enough to get attention, but I can still race it out at the track, and that's what I might be doing. So if you liked this video, please leave me a big thumbs up. Check out some of the other videos on the corner of the screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.